So, hi everyone, welcome to a kind of a special edition of our Desire to Trade podcast. I'm here with Alex, our coach at Desire to Trade, and of course, Etienne, you know very well. Of course, runs our company Desire to Trade. We're having a special sort of New Year's edition. We thought we'd keep it a little informal, but New Year's has always been a very interesting time where, to me personally, it's the ultimate reset. I mean, it's any little bad things we've done in the past or had those bad trades or mistakes or errors, well, they all go away, including that P&L number, that year-to-date P&L number, which sometimes we don't have to look at on our screen. It all goes to zero starting tomorrow. So I love it. It's a good time to sort of, start the year and forget our bad habits. But I thought I'd take over the mic today and ask our coach and, our coaches, Etienne and Alex, some things, and just to sort of help you get on the right foot for 2024. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a breakout year for many of you, and we hope we could be a part of it. So let's get started. Actually, Etienne, I'll start with you. Have you thought about it? I mean, it's New Year's. What are maybe one or two things that traders can do, some maybe baby steps, to get them on the right foot for 2024, get them on the right track? What do you think?
It's funny, I just did a video about this exactly today before our call, so pretty cool to talk about this. But yeah, we'll link in the corner over here so you guys can check it out. The key is you want to go back. Every year I do this. I go back to my past trades. I look at what I've done. Look at, of course, my performance, my P&L for the past year. I try to look at, especially the journal I have, try to look at my mistakes. Any mistakes I've made multiple times, I want to try to be aware of it. I want to be able to correct them for next year at least. And so that's kind of my first thing is I go through my trades. Second thing is I try to look at some patterns I can spot of what I've done for the past year. And then I actually plan my growth. So we talk a lot about this on YouTube and in the programs we have. It's like the development for traders, so what to work on for next year. So I go through this template that I call my trading plan or trading growth plan template, and I kind of fill this out, talking about my goals for the year, my skills I want to work on, what's my next focus for the next 90 days, and I kind of go through that. So I can actually plan. I can look at where I want to go, what things I got to work on. Then I plan accordingly for these kind of goals I have. So very crucial to go through this. Most people just they have no goals, they just have no way to improve. They think they'll get better, they hope for getting better, but they have no plan to do that. I have a plan that helps me to get better, and that's kind of my process for the holidays, definitely.
Awesome. And, it sounds like a sort of long list, and this isn't just like hedge fund manager kind of stuff. You're talking like just every trader should be kind of applying some of these things, and it's great. Alex, what are your thoughts on maybe one or two things, especially traders maybe struggling, had a little struggle, tough year? What are like sort of the one or two things they could start January 1st, start doing?
Yeah, one thing that they should definitely be looking at is trying to evaluate what things they have been doing in the past year that has been affecting their execution or P&L in a positive or negative way. So it would be, if they have a trading journal, which I really hope that they are running one, to be able to look, okay, these are certain patterns. There maybe are certain characteristics on the days or on the times in which you had your trades more compliant with your trading plan, when the execution was better, and the times in which you had it lower quality. So it will be looking into those things and trying to find any patterns, any characteristics in order to be able to build into that into the development plan. But one other thing that I would say it's really important is most of the times we are just working on the daily things. We just forget about the big picture. We forget about why we are doing the things and what's the purpose of what we're doing. We tend to just be, like being in the daily grind, or if you're trading manually, you're just daily doing stuff. So you kind of like stumble upon the different milestones instead of actually getting there like in the plan. So one thing would be to maybe go back to square one for the beginning of the year to review and say, hey, what got me here? What was the plan? And then from there start again. Okay, now what should I do? Like, have I actually progressed or not really? What should I do then from that point in order to get there? So kind of like as you mentioned, Mike, it's time for refreshing. So like refreshing your aspirations and your inspiration for getting into this business.
Love it. And Alex, you talked about development plan. Etienne, maybe just to ask everyone. I mean, we're big on development plans, so we're kind of what makes us special as a company. Tell us maybe this is the listeners and watchers, what really is a development plan? I mean, why do we need to do this?
So development plan is pretty cool. It's a way to kind of know what you want to work on. So you should have a bigger goal. Like you want to create a strategy. You want to be able to come up with something profitable. Or you just want to like maybe get funded by a prop firm or something. So that's the goal. Like, but then how do you get there? What are some things you can do to get there? That's the first step. So you want to write down like all the steps you got to go to get to that goal. So it could be like, oh, I want to backtest something. I want to look for strategy on YouTube. Like all simple stuff. But then the cool thing is like once you get profitable, it's always a game of like leveling up and scaling up your capital. So what I like to do is whenever I have a development plan, I actually look and have a column for how much capital I want to have in my account by that date. So I go and I trade, then I get to a number of trades I've defined before. Then that allows me to increase my capital by let's say 10% or 20%. I take my savings, put back into my trading account to kind of grow my capital over time. Now, if you do this as time goes, you're going to grow your account really quickly. And then you have to actually, you're able to make more money on your account because you have more capital in it. And that's kind of the goal, is to be able to have steps, have some key pillars, key steps to achieve. And once you achieve these steps, then you can actually increase your capital. So you want to make sure that when you get there, that you have two things in place. You got to be profitable to be able to increase your capital. So you actually make money as you go forward. And you got to be able to respect your plan. Because if you don't respect your plan or you don't respect your strategy, then what's the point of increasing capital? You just lose it back. So you increase your capital as you are compliant with your plan, you follow your trading plan, and then you are actually getting profitable. So every like 20, 30 trades, I tend to increase my capital. Could be more, could be less, depending on like where you're at. But the key point is before you can go and actually look at some steps to get to your goals, after you're profitable, you look at how to increase your capital and make some key kind of pillars to get there over time.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, and for me, I mean, my answer would be you want to do one thing the year, start a development plan. I mean, get exposed to new things. Totally for it. I live and die by my development plan. It's always changing. Alex, let me ask you this. For an algo trader, say they just do algo, do they even need a development plan? I mean, why bother? Why bother with a journal? I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of feels like, okay, if I have the algo is doing the thing, right? What do I have to do? Well, what's
money coming out of the laptop every day? Yeah, why? Who cares? Right?
Yeah, I already hired the algo to do the job for me, essentially, right? I outsourced my trading job to the algo, to say it in a different way. But yeah, it is important to have a development plan as an algo trader. But your development plan as an algo trader, it's different. It's not going to be focused on the actual execution itself, unless maybe you have an algo that you built and maybe it has some coding issues or something related to execution. But it's more about the big picture. It's all about looking at the business from the perspective of an owner and seeing, okay, what's the vision? What are the things? Maybe you can see the performance of some of the algos that you are running. It's starting to deteriorate a bit or they're starting to underperform. So you start a process of either re-optimizing or looking for new things. But even when things are working well, what I do is I look at things constantly and constantly looking at, hey, what can I do to improve these things? What can I do to test new methodologies or sometimes new strategies? Because you always want to be adding to your business. Trading business should be additive and you should always be growing, because eventually every single strategy, if you do not change anything of it, like if you just keep it rigid and simple and don't move any of the parameters, eventually it's going to go out of favor and stop working in the markets. So it's really important to, even if it's small tweaks and small incremental changes, you keep adding them and growing them over time. So with algo trading, it tends to be a bit more on the strategic area instead of on the execution part, since you just let the algos continue running while you are doing that. But you still need a development plan into saying like, okay, maybe I want to explore how to filter news events better. I want to really see the impact the news have on my algos. Maybe I have in the past just backtested and traded with all the news events all the time. But I really want to see, like what happens if I really either focus down on trading with the news or focus down on, okay, completely not having any trade at all during those news events. And quantifying the effect, and that could lead to maybe a new strategy that you are going to develop for news trading, or that could lead to some improvements in your other strategies, which maybe affect the negatively by the news. So just as a concrete example, just to make it a bit more concrete, what type of things you can do.
Yeah, great point. I mean, development plans, we're still traders, and whether you're managing a trading business or managing employees, so to speak, an algo, still have to manage it and develop it. And a lot of things come out of playing around and adjusting and things like that. Great point. Etienne, I want to ask you a question. We're going to get a lot of questions on crypto. What a shocker, right? Things doubles. We get a lot of questions on it. Hey, there's opportunity for everything. I mean, one of my top products were on, were cryptos ETFs this year. So it's great. Embrace the opportunity. That's why we're here. What do you think some of the caveats, though? I mean, we want people to embrace the opportunity, but what do you think some of the caveats are those saying, hey, I'm going to try crypto this year? Like 2024, that's my year for crypto. What do you think?
I mean, the big thing is people who expect crypto it's going to be the next bull cycle. It's going to be getting to like 500,000 or something. That's the worst way to think. Like people who think it's going to go and kind of reach amazing prices again. It could happen, but also you got to probably imagine it's probably going to be a bubble. And when everyone's going to be really, really excited, that's when it's going to crash, like last time. So if you want to trade, like if you want to buy early in the trend, you want to maybe add some position over time, get to break even, you add a bit more, you get to break even. That stuff is really good. I think that's something I've started to do myself. Got trading crypto about 2 weeks ago, and I kind of kept adding, and then it's kind of break even in profits, and then I can keep adding even more. That's kind of the point. So if you want to trade it, sure you can. Learn how it works, learn how different it is from other currencies, and maybe how it kind of moves a lot faster too. You got to be able to adapt to it. Definitely kind of you have to look at more trends. People trying to cash the top won't succeed very well in crypto. So definitely kind of more of a trending approach. But it's just a different beast. You got to be able to adapt to it and try it out and see if it works for you. Maybe you like some pairs or some currencies or indices that are kind of slower a little bit. Don't take your time if you're not like really impulsive or something. I know it's not for everyone. Some people love it. Some people don't like it. It depends if it works for you. But I'll just say test it out, see if it works, and kind of go with it if it does. If not, try to find a way to make it better, or go to other assets and different currencies to probably get better stats and better results.
Yeah, I mean, it again, like, we're traders. We want to embrace opportunity. The volatility is certainly there, trend-based, so there's a lot of trend-based strategies will be very attractive. And, quite honestly, there's a lot of fundamental stories that may be playing out with the ETF situation and the halving and all that, whatever that means. But, so there's definitely something to look at. But from a trading perspective, yeah, there's a lot of vol there. And if you have some drawdowns, you can get maybe, who knows if it goes up 50%, but if you have 20% drawdown, are you going to bail? So keep that in mind, that there's a certain risk element to it. But we're just getting a lot of questions on it, and the more we get, we were joking the other day, but the more questions we get about it, the more we want to short it. So it's one of those things where, hey, but again, talk about the development plan. Put it on. If you don't know anything about it, put it on your development plan. Back test it. See if you're comfortable with it. Having something that goes up, or down and moves really well can be great. But if you can't have the stomach or confidence and the tolerance to really stick with it, or like a drawdown, so the development plan in crypto may be see if it's right for you. All right. It's probably not going anywhere. It's still going to be around. So, see if it's right for you. Okay. So good point. But, at the end of the day, whether it's crypto, bonds, options, futures, obviously FX, we're traders, right? So I want to ask you, Alex, we'll start with you. What are maybe some of your personal trading resolutions, I would say? I mean, it's a new year. Anything that you're going to be doing differently this year, or at least thinking about in your approach to your trading business?
Yeah, so in my personal approach, I'm working with cryptos also with my portfolio since last year, 2 years ago. But with all the issues with the exchanges and things like that, I have tried to do into the CFD trading of crypto, so the FX brokers and that. And that has been this year a big stomp in there, because the edge, it's different than with the exchanges. The leverage different, the spread and the liquidity is a lot different. So you get a lot more spread, a lot other conditions are not as good as in the exchanges. So trying to adapt my strategies has been a bit difficult to the conditions there where the broker is essentially getting all the edge instead of you out of things. So that's been a degradation. So that's something that I need to explore a bit more, how to adapt the strategies better for that world. Because honestly, after being burned with FTX and losing some money there with the exchange going broke, I don't really want to continue trading with crypto and crypto exchanges, traditional crypto exchanges, the ones that are still standing. So I want to go with something that I have a bit more confidence in, which are, like the FX broker, which I have worked for the past 8 years with, and they have none of the ones I have worked with have had problems legally or got broken and lost client money. So I prefer that, but the conditions are a bit different. But now with the ETFs coming out and the futures of products in the traditional markets, in the centralized markets, that's also something to explore for me. So that's one of my resolutions, explore a bit more the different products for crypto to get away from the exchanges that are a bit risky in terms of safety of funds for that side. And on the other side, on my traditional algo, my normal FX algo portfolio, I am trying to go back to re-simplifying things. Over the past 3 years, I have added to the algos several filters, several things. And as with anything, we get members that sometimes are adding their own suggestions to our own products and to our programs and saying like, hey, would it be useful to add this? Or, can you check we can add this to the thing? So over time, you try adding more things. Some of them work, some of them don't, but you still keep them all there, right? Maybe you don't use them, but they are still there in the block, to say it in a way. So part of the year, my resolution for next year is to pass part of my portfolio into MT5, but also do a big chopping of all of these things that now we know don't really work that well, cutting them down, simplifying them, and making it into robust strategies, but also kind of like keeping the core as it is and just taking away all the fluff and keeping the things that we have over the past 3 or 4 years check that they are working well, and the other things that were experimental or that they didn't pass the cut eventually, just like taking them out of there so there is less fluff in my portfolio.
Yeah, I think simplification is a beautiful thing. I mean, anytime you could simplify things and have the same opportunities, I think it's great. It's actually, simplification is definitely on my list. Etienne, anything that you think you're going to be doing? Any changes in the new year for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because I really love trading, but I realize over time that I don't want to be at the chart too often. And that's something that I love the charts, I love listing trades, it's all cool, but in the end, I want to do other things. I want to be able to have a different lifestyle too and do other stuff I care about and have trading that's kind of helping me, but not necessarily taking my time too much. So part of my goal this coming year is to be able to go even more hands off, and that means probably I'm going to go up some time frames, maybe do less of the 4-hour chart, the 1-hour chart, because even if these seem to be pretty hands off, they still take time. You still got to go there every 4 hours, look at the charts, place trades if you have to, and that can be a bit annoying. So if I can have the same returns on a bigger time frame, I'll definitely do it, and that's one of my goals to figure this out, and really be able to kind of have a day where you can place your trades in the morning, then you're kind of done with it or somewhat done with it, and kind of move on and then do other stuff after. The other thing is that's kind of the reason why I started investing too. I have a much bigger portfolio line to investing because it's more and more passive and less hands-on. So definitely my goal for next year is to go more hands-off, kind of focus more on trying to get to match the return, getting the same returns with higher time frames, and kind of being able to do other stuff in the daytime.
Good, Alex, and you know what that means. More work for us, right? Etienne's going to be more work for us. That's okay. It's great. I love it because you're incorporating a change that involves a lifestyle. And I think we get a lot, and especially this past year. I mean, the 1 minute chart is now the new 15-minute chart. And everybody wants to, more trades, more scalping. And there's opportunity everywhere. But we have found that, they don't really perform overall better than the 15, 60-minute, even 4-hour chart. Less is more sometimes in this business, and I like where you incorporate the flexibility of it too. Because let's face it, I mean, we don't want to be in front of charts 15 hours a day. We know what we have to do, and really the job description is not to do that. By all means, if you're developing, and the more screen time, maybe the better. But I love it. I like the way you're incorporating that flexibility. I too, for one, by the way, is having more of that flexibility. I want to continue my travels, but do a little more, but also maybe not look at my screens while I'm traveling as much. Let the math do the work, that kind of thing. Have more set it and forget it strategies. I love it. The other thing I'm personally going to do is I'm going to sell options premium on everything I own. I mean, the soap in my bathroom, I'm selling premium against it. It's really worked. It's very passive. It's actually a separate income stream, even though it's trading income. But I find it smooths my equity curves. And when I'm wrong, I'm not really wrong. It's just like, for it to be wrong, I would have to have been right. Just not as right as I would have been if I didn't do it. So that's pretty cool. I love the bond market. The quiet story in 2023 was bonds, which are supposed to be snoozers. The bond market rocked. It was really a great performer, V-pivot type stuff. Fantastic. And if you know, again, for those listening, we're giving our ideas, but maybe it's something that interests you. But me personally, I want to. We work hard, and we do, and we try everything we can to help other traders and our members and people in the business. But it's nice to also get joy out of the business. I mean, we chose this career to get away from the rat race, and sometimes it's a lot. There's a lot of long days. There's a lot of summary reports that we're doing for one-on-one calls and things like that. It takes a lot of time, but I want to make sure that we understand that, for lack of a better word, we're very blessed to be in this business. We love giving back, but I feel like I got a little overwhelmed with just a lot of workload and maybe didn't do as much giving back, philanthropy. That's something that I want to be very, very aware of, that I'm going to be monitoring myself. Like, am I giving back? Whether it's in trading, outside, whatever. That's an investment. That's not just being nice. I'll get that back in return. So a little bit of mixture of everything there too. But that all involves travel, all for good things. So for sure, the traveling trader lifestyle will not change. So good idea. And so let's maybe wrap this up with this one last question. I'm going to pose to Etienne. Yeah, he's our chief leader. Anything from our subscribers, our members, anything that you can kind of give a hint or tease that maybe there's going to be some changes coming along in 2024? Anything they could expect from us?
I mean, I used to be all about teaching what I know, teaching from experience, teaching stuff I've done over the years from trading. And I realized teaching is really good. It can get people really far, but I also know some people don't follow through or don't get the work done, or they kind of have a tougher time with applying things to the market by themselves. So what I've been kind of focused on the past year, which is really cool, is finding ways to avoid that, finding ways for traders to get results without the need for necessarily a lot of teaching and stuff and learning. So you can definitely expect more technology to come, definitely more ways to use the platforms we have, use the tools we have to get better trading results. I think that's pretty cool. We've been working a lot with algos the past year, actually the past 2 years even with algos. So things that could simplify the trader's life, things that could make it easier to get profitable. Most people think it's like, it's going to get rich quick scam or something, but we actually want to find ways to get people better results with the technology we have. And I think that's definitely possible. Definitely possible to do it the smarter way and not have to kind of learn these things and actually practice these things for a long time to get better results. So definitely that's something we try to work on, try to get shortcuts that work for traders and kind of get them to the goals faster. Whether it's in funding or in actually trading, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I'm going to be thrilled to be a part of that as well. Alex, any thoughts on, especially on the technology side, the algo side, anything you want to change that maybe can help our members and subscribers and people who follow us?
Yeah, well, in terms of our members, like almost all the things that I do in my own personal portfolio for trading and my personal things. So the thing that I mentioned in the previous part of this conversation about my own personal goals for my own algos in my traditional FX portfolio, most of those things get translated into our members, benefits for our members. So part of that, for our members also, it's the migration to 25, so it can be better and faster trading with those things. But also the part of simplification. It's one thing that at least I have seen for many members is that you get all the tools and you get the things, but unless you are really, really dedicated and really, let's say unless you really care about this algo part like me, which I am passionate about the algos, most people, they don't really want to feel working around with so many settings, all the things, and really doing all those, all those minutia things that sometimes can be fun for someone that enjoys it in algo, but can be really, really tedious for someone else. So part of that for our members, it's a bit more of that simplification and making it easier for kind of like someone that is not a nuthead about algo to be able to understand, someone that doesn't have a background of being 5 years working and programming algos to be able to understand and be able to do all the things without having to go crazy about all the statistics and things like I enjoy doing.
Awesome, and you do it very well. One of the things I think I want to bring to the community is, I went to a doctor visit last month, and just, annual visit. And he came in with his chart and, started talking about sports. And he goes, all right, so last time you were here, we talked about this. How's that going? And we were thinking about doing this. And okay, I got your numbers. And I'm like, I should do more of that with our coaching members and anyone. So think about it. Like if I have a one-on-one call and we do talk about a lot of things, we kind of record it, but I really want to have a patient file on them. What exactly we talked about? What were the goals? What were the action plans? How did they follow up with it? So when I speak with them again, it's not about how you doing. It's these are the things we discussed. How are they working? What's working? What's not? Let's find a solution for the ones that are not. And here are the maybe some issues that you're struggling with. Hey, I just saw a bunch of other patients, traders, who they have these type of situations. How about we match those together? So maybe taking some type of data analytics within our community and matching them up and saying, hey, all 5 of you have this struggling with this one issue. How about we have a call next Thursday? Something like that. So really bringing coaching to a new level using technology and analytics and doing that as opposed to a one-to-one, which now may result into a one-to-many. And now we want to take winning traders who are doing okay, but I want to see more breakout years. I want 2024 to be the breakout year for a lot of our members, even the ones that are doing pretty well. I want this to be memorable. So that's what I'm going to strive for. And I think, as a member community, I think that's something that will make us, quite honestly, very unique and special in somewhat of a crowded space. So great. I think this is fantastic. Great ideas, great topics to kick off 2024. Etienne, any last thoughts before we hand it over to the trading gods?
Yeah, thank you to Michael for hosting this session here. It's been cool to have his thoughts and his questions too. Kind of answer on the other side. It's kind of cool as well. So good to have you here, of course, and good to have this video. If people like it, leave us a comment below. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your goals are for next year, what you want to achieve. We'll do videos as much as we can to help you achieve those goals and get you to those goals faster if we can. And we hope to catch you back here next video next year. All right, talk soon.
Fantastic. Have a great one, guys. Good luck in 24.